everybody. I'm with Chris Cosentino. He is the winner of Season 4 of Top Chef Masters. He's also opening a restaurant this fall here in Houston called Rosalie. Can't wait for that. All right, you work in two sides of the food business. You see when people are blessed enough to come in and enjoy a great meal at a restaurant,
yes,
but you also see those people who live in a world of food insecurity where they don't know where their food's coming from, and this is a cause close to your heart.
Yeah, actually, 1 out of 5 children go to school in the morning with an empty stomach. And when you start to look at that as a bigger picture, those kids are the ones that are going to cure cancer. Those kids are going to be the ones that are going to walk on Mars. And every time we omit one of those kids from an education, we're omitting bigger opportunities in the future of curing a disease, walking on Mars. So by correcting food inequality is really going to make a bigger change. Those kids are going to change climate change. I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to cure cancer. We're not.
Yeah, we got to give them the basic opportunity of being able to get a meal. You're from San Francisco, which they deal with big city problems just like we do.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times people think that it's just the homeless person on the street. They need to be fed too. But again, you never know when it's your neighbor. You never know when it's a coworker, because
True.
people still sometimes hide in shame about this. And we want people to understand that we're a community that's wrapping our arms around you to help you. So KHOU Stands Against Hunger is now through August 11th. We're going to provide 125,000 meals for Houston area children. That's what we want to do. That's our goal. You can donate the non-perishable foods in the red barrels at participating grocery stores, and we'll tell you about a little bit more about that in a second. But first, some of the things that people get at the food bank. We have the largest one in the country, and it's not just about a bunch of canned stuff. It's about, as you know as a chef, fresh stuff, vegetables, nutrient-dense things, good food.
Super healthy food, and I think it's really important to think about that when you're feeding somebody, especially you want to have balance, right? So what I've done here is kind of done a mix, and it's a pretty classic. It's perfect for right now too, because we're in the season. So we have toasted whole wheat.
Yeah.
Okay, it's really important to getting a whole grain bread, and that's going to give a nice balance, right? So I like to use a little bit of mayonnaise, but we make our own. But if you don't have to.
And here's the thing: you got your balance you talked about. There's the carbs right there. You need a little bit of fat in your diet.
You need
as
a
well.
little fat, okay? But this is egg yolks, and I use extra virgin olive oil and a little Dijon, and just a nice slather. You've got to have enough on there.
Okay, I'm gonna have to inappropriately stick my finger in there because.
There you go.
Oh wow! Like when you say the homemade part, yeah.
The homemade part, really, you got to do both sides, okay? And this is something that's readily available. If you can't make an aioli, that's okay. Take some mayonnaise and add a little bit of whole grain mustard to it. Okay, it's going to give it a lot of depth.
And claim that you made it from scratch.
Well, also by doing that, by adding acid, by using the mustard, you don't need to add salt, okay? And it really helps. Yeah,
because a lot of times we over add salt, and salt's not really where we get some of the cooler flavors from.
Correct. I like to say acid and herbs before salt. Okay. It's really important. So we do have some really beautiful basil right here. We have some butter lettuce, really clean, very simple. So we're going to start by layering down.
And why butter lettuce versus iceberg?
It was just what was at the market today.
There you go. Okay, but that's an important part. What's available today? What's fresh, right?
And I think one of the things that people have gotten so hooked up on is a recipe. Unless you're baking, you don't need to follow it to the T. You want to follow the technique.
Yeah, because baking's more of a science.
Correct.
Right?
When you're cooking, it's really about ebbing and flowing with what you have. Right? You don't have to use butter lettuce. You could use iceberg, you could use romaine, you could use arugula, whatever's right there. Don't be afraid to ebb and flow and change. As long as it tastes great and it's super fresh, that's what's important.
Yeah.
So I like to make sure there's a lot of lettuce, okay?
Which
so
provides a little bit of crunch in there with the
crunch,
toast.
texture, but we're adding more vegetable, right? We're keeping a layering. Now, if you don't have bacon, you don't have to use it. Right? You can just make a tomato sandwich. But for me, I like to really keep that tomato nice and big. So I'm going to sneak in my basil, right?
Which adds great flavor
So I'm going to put that on the other piece of bread on the top. So now the mayo is the best part because it allows me to stick my basil, and I'm alternating it as I go. So it covers the entirety of the sandwich. You don't want any bite to be missing.
Yeah, and for those kids who say, I don't like vegetables, this is the way to kind of sneak that in there. Different taste, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta put it in a way where they're not gonna balk at it, and you just be really smart about it. So, can you do bacon? Yes. If you're gonna do bacon, make sure it covers the entirety of the sandwich. So all I do is, because you need protein.
Right.
Protein is really key, especially for young kids. They need protein to build muscles, build brain cells. You gotta do it.
And even that little fat that we talked about. And of course, this is a case where if you have bacon, you don't ever need to add salt.
Correct. Right. So now here, this is the key. I like the tomato thick. It's like thick as a thumb. So it's a tomato steak.
That is a thick slice.
right?
Yeah.
I don't like all those little flimsy, skinny. This
Little
isn't-
tomatoes.
No.
We're in Texas. We do big tomatoes.
We're going for the full shadonky donk right
Okay.
here. Okay, so you mash that guy down there, and it's going to need pepper.
It's almost like if you don't have any other seasoning, pepper is the one that you should always have with you.
Pepper's great. Never buy pre-ground pepper. Even if somebody's going to give it to you, you don't know how long
And
it's
you know
been
what?
there.
When you twisted it like that, it bursts.
It explodes.
Yeah.
Now,
All
one
right?
thing with this tomato, you do want to add a pinch, not a lot. Tomato needs the salt, and the reason why is because it starts to bring out the moisture. It's
It
not
sweats.
about exactly. So it's going to sweat out a little bit of flavor, but it's not a lot. Literally, it's just a couple little grains, and all of the moisture is going to come out of that tomato. It's going to make the sandwich super, super moist.
Okay.
Okay.
Goes on top.
And you got to hear that noise. You got to hear it crunch.
Oh, I could hear that. Okay, before I bite in, because this is going to be a good
You're going to
mess.
go for that.
This is, I'm good. Yes, I'm going to go
Wow, you're going to go
for
for
it.
it.
Do I look like I've never gone for
So
something
you want
like
me to
this?
cut that in half for you?
Okay, you cut it in half. And
I'm
while
gonna
he's
cut
cutting
it in half.
I just want to let you all know, to help with our goal, you can donate non-perishable food in the red barrels at participating grocery stores, and they can also do a lot more with cash. $1 really equals 3 meals at the food bank. So to donate money, text KHOU food to 41444. Thank you for helping us stand against hunger. And
How's
this is
that
one
look
of the
for you?
recipes that somebody can do that's very simple and easy. Okay, here we go.
See? And you're not faking.
I'm not faking. Anything with bacon, you can't be faking.